and that as a result, I committed a crime known as cyberbullying or cybercrime, according to a 2015 crime that was promulgated into law and signed by Goodluck Jonathan before he left office. That was the basis for the seizure of my passport as a condition for bail. Since January 2025, I haven't been able to leave Nigeria because of this very useless case. But any one of you who was there the day I was charged will be reminded that I said the case will suffer a catastrophic failure, just like the treason case that was brought against me. And that day has come today. We also told the judge then, and that's why I'm not celebrating, that he shouldn't have gotten himself involved in this injustice. After a year, 12 months of waste of my time, energy, and denial of my rights to see my family and my wife, the judge once even questioned that I didn't file the name of my children and my wife in order to get my passport back, and as a result held on to my passport. But as it is characteristic of us, we don't run away from battles that are thrown our way. So we stood and fought. We fought that IG, and he was eventually removed. Not by God, but by man. Because God does not remove inspector generals of police. He leaves it to competent men to do. But I cannot stand in front of you without thanking our lawyers, particularly Marshal Abubakar, who moved the motion finally today, not only to get the case quashed, but to save the judge of the greatest embarrassment he was about to face. And I'm not afraid to say it. The judge erred in law to have taken me on bail and taken my passport and my liberty away. That was after they even put me in detention for about 4 days. And but this is not the only case I have. I have 4 other ones that are going to fail, including the one that you saw yesterday, where the judge has already embarrassed himself by asking this competent lawyer of ours to come and kneel down, close his eyes, and raise up his hand.
NBA has condemned it.
And when he was doing it yesterday, he didn't contemplate what would be the nature and the damage that has been done. But we thank these lawyers, we thank DJ Adeyonju, who has, since I was the one who accompanied him when he wanted to graduate from law school. I'm talking about law school. And I remember what the EFCC guy said when we were passing the place. He said, you guys haven't even got home, and you're already causing problems. So DJ has not stopped causing problems since then. We thank Barrister Maxwell Okwara, who, as a matter of fact, had instituted a lawsuit against the IGP, the illegal IGP, to declare him illegal. And Hamza Dantani, who attended all of our cases, Ms. Mandela, Tamno Tonye, and most importantly, Rose Hamza, who is the person who never stops from, even if the elevators break down here, you will see her and the stairways just moving fast. She made it possible. So, but most of all, I also want to thank members of our movement, the TIB, Take It Back movement, our party AC, the media, who also have not left us in the hands of our oppressors. We can do more. And doing more means that we end the era of impunity in this country, whether it's in the judiciary, in the legislative arm, or the executive rascal arm of the country. You now know that with determination, we can do it. 2 things were achieved, and I'll stop in this case. 1, our determination to remove the IG. From that, the legal position has been achieved. Also, a determination to end an unjust legal challenge against our fundamental right of existence has also been achieved today. The 3rd yet to be achieved is to install a government of the people in this country that have respect for the dignity, the rights and integrity of the Nigerian person. That is the next stage, and we will accomplish that very soon. Thank you very much. The lawyers can...
One last question from me, please. Talking about your passport now, what is the court saying about it?
The passport goes back to its owner, administratively and automatically. What you should be asking me is, when are we suing for damages? Huge amount of that for the 1 year. You know how much it costs to be stayed away from it. 100 billion is lower than my integrity. Yes. Especially the denial of conjugal. Yes. I'm going to sue on behalf of myself, my children, and my wife, who has been denied the presence of her husband over all these months. But that will be discussed later. You can't quantify the damage that has been done to us. And don't forget that the police is still owing me 30 million naira from Lagos for illegally declaring. They have not paid yet. And we need that money. The DSS is owing me 2 million naira and 2 of my phones, those phones were seized when it was iPhone 12. They have now graduated to iPhone 17. So I'm not going to collect iPhone 12 from anybody. We are going to go for the modern ones because that's the way the law works, right? So that's our position. The passport we will apply for and get, but the struggle will not end. Thank you very much.
People have a say that no matter how fast falsehood runs, it will take a day for truth to prevail and overcome. We've always maintained this position that governance is for the people, and that any policy implemented by the government without recourse to the overall interest of the people can never be a people policy, and it's an abuse of Section 174(3) of the Constitution. Criminal prosecutions should be undertaken with in mind the view and the interest of fairness, equity, and due administration of justice and rule of law. This is the essence of the powers donated by the prosecutors in Nigeria under Section 174 of the Constitution. This case that just ended today in an obnoxious manner against the state is another example of a clear abuse of the prosecutorial powers of the states. A man clearly violated the Constitution, the Police Acts, and the police guidelines, which is the Bible guiding his office, by using the instrumentalities of state apparatus to fight a man who has simply called him out to be accountable to the Nigerian people. The court saw reason with us today and ended the charade of a trial. Mr. Sowore has been released. But beyond Mr. Sowore, I am very sure that there are hundreds, if not thousands of other Nigerians who do not have the same voice and platform as Mr. Sowore, who are being hounded in court today for committing no offense under the Nigerian law. We are imploring this new Inspector General of Police to look into these cases and issues. The powers donated by the Constitution to the police and to the prosecutorial agencies is not to settle personal vendetta and personal scores. The police and those in government has no business using their offices to oppress and to gag Nigerians. Nigeria is a democracy governed and dictated by the rule of law. Any attempt by any person in government or in the corridors of power to attempt to use the paraphernalia of Nigerian state apparatus to gag Nigerians should not be condoned. This IG must sit tight and ensure that he puts an end to this obnoxious practice of policemen simply using their offices and their powers for their own selfish personal gains and to settle personal scores and vendetta. The Police Act clearly prohibits this practice and it should not be condoned. Another case that comes to fore is the case of our sister in Lagos, Maureen Badijo, who has just been given a bill, an obnoxious bill of 50 million naira. The IG, this new IG, had promised us that he will look into the matter and ensure that persons who simply exercise their rights to freedom of expression should not be indemnified. Yes. The idea of criminalizing free speech gives a chilling effect. Countries in the world has evolved and moved away from the practice of gagging free speech in their country. The idea of gagging free speech was imported from UK, and UK has since gone away from this obnoxious practice. Nigeria must borrow a new leaf moving forward, and this IG must ensure today, as we speak today, the Cybercrime Act prosecutions has taken over our court system in the Federal High Court. Most judges are now being saddled with the responsibility of handling cases of she insults me, she doesn't insult me. Of what business does a federal high court judge have in meddling in an affair that is purely a civil matter? Defamation is civil. If somebody has defamed you, we've been defamed before, and we never approach the police to prosecute on our behalf because we strongly feel that such matters are for the civil courts. The police must stop with urgency the practice of taking money from the so-called big men to harass and oppress Nigerians who simply exercise their rights under a democracy. That practice must stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on for me. Very, very brief. The incident that happened yesterday has started generating reactions from social media, even down to the NBA. The NBA has condemned the act that it is alien to Nigerian law. Do you have anything to say about it? NBA has spoken.
Well, the NBA has spoken, but I want to believe that my Lord Justice Umar must really be joking, because we observed, I have never in my life, in my entire practice years of over a decade, had the last time. Even in secondary schools these days, you don't even subject pupils or students to such corporal ordeal. Even the idea of muttering such a statement, it's a violation of the Constitution.